Major breaking news. The Israeli hostages are free, the last 20 living hostages, and a ceasefire is in place. In exchange, Israel had to release 2,000 Palestinian detainees. The detainees are on release, but many of them were in prison for murder. Many of them are Hamas terrorists, violent criminals, so it would be irresponsible not to keep track of them, and they will be tracked. The charges against them are still in place. They're still criminals. They did not receive a pardon or commutation or anything like that. Now, we can think of it as early release in a manner of speaking. It's a misconception to say Israel released 2,000 terrorists to get 20 hostages back. No, that's not the deal. Israel had already destroyed the military capability of Hamas during the past 2 years of war, and Israel's enemies out there might be saying, well, let's arm the 2,000 that were released. But then what would happen? They're being tracked. Now that's what's going on. 2,000 of them remained alive in prison. Now they're out and they're being tracked. Peace through strength. That's what's going on. And the world breathed a collective sigh of relief. Even President Trump's political opponents had to acknowledge he deserves credit for bringing the hostages home. Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris, for example, both acknowledged the monumental nature of his accomplishment, which neither of them thought he could pull off. Let's watch their reactions.
A really significant first step, and I really commend President Trump and his administration, as well as Arab leaders.
Look, I don't think that we should hold in credit where it's due. And I commend the people who have been a part of this process. I commend the Qataris, the Egyptians, and the president.
Now, both Democrats looked so shocked that he had done it. So they both looked shocked and a little sad. They thought it couldn't be done by anyone, but for Donald Trump to do it, it made them a little bit sad, in my view. Now, maybe they're realizing they misjudged Donald Trump, and the strategy used by their party of blaming every catastrophe in the world on Trump just makes them look deranged and sad. Now, phase 2 of the peace deal requires Hamas to disarm. If they don't, they'll regret it. They're being tracked. An armed Hamas cannot be tolerated. After all the Israelis have been through these past 2 years, it's not feasible to return to the status quo. And what about all the money that the United States spent these past 2 years to help Israel? Now, after all that, would we allow Hamas to build up its terrorist capability? President Trump said it's the historic dawn of a new Middle East and the end of an age of terror and death. Now, given the recent U.S. military actions against drug cartels in the Americas, Hamas should take heed, lay down their arms, and live. Live and let live. The peace deal is more than fair to Hamas, who are terrorists, but they're given a choice here. They've always had a choice, like everyone else on the planet. I don't know why the liberal left wing seems not to get that. Hamas decided to massacre Israelis on October 7th. They decided to do that. Nobody forced Hamas. Now, they're allowed to live in accordance with the terms of the peace deal, or they can take the consequences. And it's no different from the choice every person on the planet is given. Hamas is seeking special treatment, let's understand. They want to kill, rape, torture, steal. They follow Sharia law. Women have to be covered from head to toe, for instance, and if they don't, they're sinning. Now, remember Mahsa Amini, 22 years old? She died in the custody of Iran's morality police. Now, her alleged crime was improperly wearing the head covering, so they beat her to death. It's a different understanding of right and wrong. Let's realize what we're dealing with. The worldview of Hamas is extremely primitive. What they did on October 7th, the massacre of Israelis, rape of women, cutting off their breasts, shooting the genitalia of women and men, pummeling their faces until the brains spilled out, cooking babies alive in ovens. Hamas considers all that to be justice. But if Israelis defend themselves, whoa, how dare they? If an Israeli raises an arm against a blow or sidesteps, how dare they? Now, let's understand the mindset of Hamas. It's a criminal mindset that views right and wrong in the reverse. Now, people throughout the Muslim world and even some crazy radicals on college campuses in the U.S. celebrated October 7th, and they still celebrate it. Zohran Mamdani, Democratic nominee for the New York City mayoral race, this year, on the second anniversary of October 7th, issued a statement criticizing the U.S. and Israeli governments for the destruction of Gaza. I mean, he doesn't consider what happened on October 7th to be that big of a deal in the larger scheme of things. Now, he has a different understanding of right and wrong. Mamdani celebrates violent overthrow of the social order and redistribution of property. That's what October 7th was, an attempted violent overthrow of the social order and redistribution of property held by Israelis. All of the blue cities now, where ICE officers are being attacked in the sanctuary jurisdictions that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement, that's what they're doing as well. They imported over 20 million illegals into the U.S. during Joe Biden's term of office and demand that they should be held to a different standard than everyone else, just like Hamas demands a different standard, which places them above the law. Attacking ICE officers, it's the attempted violent overthrow of the social order and redistribution of property because the illegals get all kinds of social services in those sanctuary jurisdictions, including Medicaid, which is extremely costly. And I'll just close with good news out of Virginia. Jay Jones, the Democratic candidate for Attorney General who fantasized about killing a political rival in text messages. I posted a video about that a little while ago. Jay Jones has been overtaken in the polls by the current AG, Jason Miyares. He's done a stellar job as Virginia's AG and deserves a second term. And the Republican nominee for governor, current Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earle-Sears, has closed the polling gap to less than 2% with her opponent, Democrat Abigail Spanberger. Now, Spanberger refused to withdraw her endorsement of Jay Jones' candidacy for AG during last week's gubernatorial debate, and her performance in the debate was subpar, lacking the energy and drive of Winsome Earle-Sears. The Republican Winsome Earle-Sears is my pick, and hopefully she'll carry it all the way to the executive mansion. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.